this morning I got a text from my son, and he said, sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And he sent a video along with the message, because I'm wondering both sides of what. And so I looked at the video, and the video was a report about this guy, Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick is a football player with the San Francisco 49ers. And this guy refused to stand during the national anthem. And he said he's not going to stand until, or he won't stand, because America is not fair to everybody. In short, he is a Black Lives Matter supporter. And we all know that Black Lives Matter, it is an evil organization with the intent to destroy America and turn it into a socialist society. It's not about black people at all. It is set up to divide and conquer. And it's created by a bunch of homosexuals and lesbians and white liberal socialists, communist kind of folks. So there's nothing good about it. And so I looked at the video that my son sent along with the message that sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And so I looked at it, and the reporter was talking about this story with Colin. And the reporter also talked about how the national anthem came about. And he indicated that it was about slavery and against black people. That kind of stuff is against black people, and that's part of the reason Colin is not, standing up for the national anthem. And so he said, this reporter said, how is it that so many people are outraged at Colin, but not outraged at this? And he showed three pictures of three black guys. And the outrage is that at the games now, wherever this guy is playing, the people are booing him, Colin. They're booing him, and I think they should. I also think that he should be fired. When you go to a football game, you're going there to relax, get away from the week. You don't want politics. You don't want to hear about nobody's problems. You're taking your kids, and you're having popcorn and hot dogs and peanut butter, and you just want to kick back and have fun. You don't want some angry person protesting at the game. Save it. You can go out and protest after the game. But this guy has decided to do it at the game. And he's getting paid. One day he went to practice, and he wore some socks with the face of pigs and police cap. And the pigs had police caps. And that's what Black Lives want. Pigs in the blanket, fry them like bacon. When do we want dead cops? When do we want it now? Kind of thing. So this guy should not be allowed to play football. It's unfortunate that the owners of the team are too cowardly to stand up and denounce him and get rid of him. I believe that his contract will not be renewed. Hopefully it won't be renewed. But anyway, so this reporter showed that, and then he showed the pictures of three black guys who were killed by a police officer. So the guy pointed out Garner as one of the guys. He said, this is where the outrage should be. Garner was killed by police officers for selling cigarettes, illegal cigarettes, on the corner. That's the first lie, because he wasn't killed for selling illegal cigarettes on a corner. He was killed, he died because he resisted arrest. He started fighting with the cop when they tried to put the handcuffs on him, and he already had some type of medical problem, so he went down, he died. He was not killed for selling illegal cigarettes. But that's the lie that the reporter told, and if you're not paying attention, you're just here oh, this poor black guy was killed by the police officer for selling illegal cigarettes. But that wasn't the reason. So he lied about that. Then he had this little young kid out of Ohio, Tamir Rice. He's like, this is Tamir Rice. You should be outraged about this. He was killed by cops because he had a BB gun. But he wasn't killed by cops because he had a BB gun. He was killed by cops because he was in the park waving his gun around. Somebody called the police and said, there's a person in the park with a gun. And when the cops got there, he went into his, according to the report, he went into his pants to bring the gun out. And because he had taken up, there's a little orange tip that goes on BB guns to let the cops know it's a BB gun. But he had taken that off, and they didn't know it was a thing. So the boy pulling out the gun, that's why he was killed. He was not killed because he had a BB gun. But that's another lie that the reporter said. Deceiving you. Totally deceiving you. If you're not paying attention, you would say, oh my God, they killed this little innocent baby because he had a gun. And then they showed this black man out of Minnesota that was killed in his car. And he had told the officers that he had a license to carry the gun. But his girlfriend or somebody in the car with him, and the boy ended up dead. And he's like, this is another one. He had a permit to carry a gun, and they killed him. And I don't know what the real story on that one. So my son watching this, he's not paying attention to the lie that's being told, and he's overreacting to that. That's why my son said, I wish you were on both sides, meaning that on the side of the blacks and on the side of the whites, across the fence. But I'm on the side of truth. I can care less about the color. I really don't care. And I used to be into the color thing. Whenever I got involved with white folks, I thought it was a black and white thing. And now I never think about my color. It's so irrelevant that it's amazing. But the problem is people who are into the color thing, they are being so deceived. The liberals, the godless people in the media, they just want to deceive black people. It's like they're deliberately keeping them angry by just changing everything, so presenting a lie in order to keep you angry and keep us fighting amongst each other. It's just so amazing. It's like they have, even the black ones, not just the white liberal in the media, but the black ones as well. They don't really care about black people. They want to keep them dumbed down, angry, and brainwashed, and demoralized for personal gain. And I noticed that the children of the lie, they have a lot of money. They own the media. They have this way of just always getting the lie out there. Whereas the children of the truth, they don't have as many avenues. It's like they don't seem to have money or avenues to always get the truth out there about things. So the lie is always floating about and just out there all the time. And if you hear the lie and you are a blind person, you're going to fall for it. You're just going to fall for it. It's hard enough keeping up with it when you can see what's going on. You have to pay attention, because when this guy said that, the average person's not going to think he wasn't killed because he was selling cigarettes. He was killed because he resisted arrest. And didn't he have like a heart attack or something? The fat black one? Asthma. So overweight, asthma, and he knew his condition. But yeah, he refused. They had to take him down and he died. Why not be honest about that? And the reason they're not honest is because they are of their father, the deceiver. They have to deceive you. And that's why we got to wake up. We must wake up. I was talking to a friend last night about Booker T. Washington. And Booker T. Washington was born enslaved. Now, he was the real deal. My little plantation stuff is nothing. He was born enslaved. His father and mother were sold into it. I believe a brother and sister were sold off or died of some kind of disease. But Booker T never hated. And he knew and understood what was going on. And he was friendly with everybody. And as a result of that, white people taught him to read and write. They supported him and did things. White people are some of the nicest people on earth, aren't they? And the reason I say that, I was looking at this in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. There was a lot of rain there, and so the river overflowed and water just everywhere, and I saw white Americans out there with their boats and coming from around the country to help these folks out. And knowing that the blacks don't like them, knowing that as soon as they get out of those boats, they're going to call white folks racist. But yet white people show up to help. And you see one or two black people showing up, but blacks don't go out there to really help. But whites donate the money. They give their time even to their enemies. And to me, that's amazing. And I was thinking the other day, I wonder why and somebody may know the answer to this because I really don't know the answer. You know how white people built this country and then they create all this freedom, but for some reason they decided to invite the rest of the world. And I'm wondering why. Why didn't they just keep it white and let us come visit? Because the folks that are coming in are hating whitey. They're not coming in and saying, you know what, thank you, Mr. White Man, for building this great country and inviting me over here to live and have the same freedom. They're coming in, they're hating the people who built the country. But yet they're running from, and not just blacks, all kind of folks, Hispanics and Muslims and blacks and Chinese and Japanese and Andre folks. What's Andre? Armenian. They're all coming here, leaving their own country. They're not staying there to build. Have you noticed? They're not staying in their country to build their own country. They're running from trouble. And then bringing that mess here. And I'm thinking, why did the white folk even let anybody else come? Because they don't appreciate it. It's like letting your cousin come to visit you for a week or two, and now they eat up all your food. They're making long distance calls on your phone. They talking to the neighbor when you're not around, letting folks in your house. And then when it's time for you to send them home, they don't want to leave. Then they say, you're the bad guy because you want me to leave your house. You know what I'm talking about? There's no real appreciation for America by these people that are coming in. It's mind-blowing to me. So I really want white people to tell me, why did you let anybody in? The Constitution should have said, nobody coming but white folks. But Booker T, he didn't hate anyone. And he believed in, he thought that black people should not move to the north during the Emancipation Proclamation time. He said black people should stay in the South because they're the ones that have been working for the white man all these years. They've been farming and taking care of their kids and doing all these things. So they have the talent. They just didn't know how to organize that talent so that they can benefit from it. And they had families, they were living upright, a moral people. So Booker T said, stay here and buy your land, own your land, plant your farm, sell your product, and America will look at you and see a noble, independent people, and you will be fine. You will be respected. But the black leaders up north, like W.D. Du Bois and others, the intellectual ones, they were telling black people, oh, you need to get out of the South, come to the north, or go to the north where freedom is. And Booker T like, no, there's no freedom in the north because you're not going to own anything. You're not going to be free. You could be free right here. And he was working with white people to get them to work with black people because in the long run, it would benefit them as well. And Booker T went on and built Tuskegee Institute, a black university. I grew up right near that school. I used to go there. One of our teachers would take us there every year for the summer. The blacks built that school from ground up. And they ended up creating a whole beautiful community. Tuskegee became a community with beautiful homes, nice families, educated men and women. It was the place to go because blacks were independent. They wouldn't think, and many of them did move to the north, and they ended up in projects. They ended up on the government, ended up not owning anything. You see how that turned out. But the ones that stayed there, they did very well. They had land, and they, banks and businessmen and women just really had it going on. Long story short, Booker T died after a while, and now if you go down to Tuskegee Institute, it looked like the ghettos, because the liars have taken over, the traders, the race hustlers have taken over the schools, and they have brainwashed the people. The last time I was there, the person that took us on a tour said that there's a lot of money there for blacks to come and take advantage of, but they won't even show up for the free money to get the education. And the community has gone down. It's all changed because the values and the value in the people have changed. Booker T. Washington was called Uncle Tom, a sellout, a whitey lover, all that kind of stuff by the race hustlers. Same thing that's happening today. And when you look around at, not all, but most black Americans are living like they are just, like they don't have any sense. Like they're just in a strange world and they don't know what to do for themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves. And that's why these kind of people can lie to them and use them and degrade them and demoralize them. Even their own black people, so-called elitist people, have no respect for other black people. This guy, Colin Kaepernick, is an evil, corrupt, dangerous, no good person. His father was black, his mother was white. When his mother had him at 19, she put him up for adoption, and a white family adopted him. He ended up getting a good education, getting on this football thing. He had the greatest opportunity to do well in this country. And instead of appreciating that and telling black people, hey, you can do it too. White folks don't care about you. They're not hating you. Drop your anger and go out and do your thing. You can do it in this country. Instead of him encouraging them in that way, he's supporting some stupid Black Lives Matter, encouraging more hatred between the races and causing anger within the hearts and minds of black people and causing them to feel that they can't make it in this country. Isn't that sad? He's not encouraging them, he's holding them back. Where's the love in that? There's no love. And this guy is like all over the media. And there are so many black people who are falling for it. It's just mind-blowing to me. And it's evil. It's disgusting. I wish they would fire him. And any other black sports player that stand up. And I wish that stand up and support this guy. I wish that the fans were not so needy for football or whatever it might be. Because if the fans stopped going to the games, these people could make millions of dollars. The business would go out of business. I guarantee you they'll cut this crap out. But the fans, the people like Colin and others know that the fans are going to come anyway, even if they are in your face with this mess. They know you're going to come because you can't handle your ego not being massaged. You have to have this excitement to feel good. And so they know you're going to come. Beyonce and all these people, they go to your game and they're in your face with it. With Black Lives Matter and the Black Panther and all this crap. And white folks just show up at the games. They got to have it. But if it was on the other side, there was something happened at a game. It had to be a conservative person doing it. And he was wiped out right away. They stopped him right away. But whenever liberals or the children of God do this mess, the good folks still support it. It's a spiritual battle, folks. And black people have no business living the way that they're living. They have no business having this anger. It is so unnecessary. You could be free, you could have a good life, never mind your color. But we're at war. And for some reason, the people on the side of good won't unite and fight back in the same manner the people on the side of the lie fight. They fight together. And I know how to do it because I was a union organizer. I know how to do it. But it's hard to get people on the side of good to stand up and fight back. And you're losing. But we can beat these folks. We really can. Yes.
If he wanted to do it, it's his free speech to do it. I'm fine with that.
Yes.
But I was questioning the sincerity of it. If he was just so gung-ho, knowing his history and everything that has happened to him, and he came from such a wonderful family, went to such a wonderful school, have this wonderful career, why now is he suddenly discovering black folks and that black folks are now are under the bus? And this has been happening for decades, but suddenly now he's chosen to do this. Okay, besides this, what has he done 2 years ago? Like, was he at a black church? Was he at anybody's church, not just a black church, as any church, helping out with the bake sale? Did he buy toys for kids? What? I mean, at least I could say Shaq brought snow to Los Angeles for kids.
That's
you
right.
know, he has done things for the community. But what has this gentleman done to come out and say all this rhetoric, which I would have to call it rhetoric at this point?
It's all lies. It's all evil.
And I'm just kind of upset that folks aren't asking this when our athletes suddenly have a light come off and they do stuff like this. I have to question their sincerity. I have to question what is the motive behind this, who's pushing them to do this, or is there a motive? And what are they going to do after this? After all this BLM stuff, which is actually, I'm kind of happy, it's starting to die down slowly.
Well,
it's dying a natural death slowly.
No, don't relax, because the Ford Foundation gave them $100 million.
I don't think they're going to know what to do with it.
They're going to party.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. That.
They're going to have a good time.
Let's just. I'm being very blunt when I say and people can correct me. When you give black organizations money, what do they do with it?
Yeah. But that's why
it's kind of like We Are the World back in the 80s. Where did all that money go to? They had this humongous concert on 2 continents.
Yeah.
Where did all that money go? Nobody knows. So that's why I'm saying the Ford Foundation could give them $3 trillion. I don't think these people know how to manage it, know how to do with it, or anything. So it's going to end up back at the Ford. Somehow it's going to make a big circle, end up back at the Ford Foundation.
That's another example of how the evil people work with each other financially and everything. They stick together. The Ford Foundation gave Black Lives Matter, it's been reported, all of this money to promote evil. When last time you heard of a major organization giving money to a Christian group or someone to promote good? You know, you don't hear that.
It seems to me that the major motivator of people like Colin Kaepernick and white people and men and stuff is guilt. You know, you say the good people can be had, and they're had through their guilts. Like Colin Kaepernick is rich, so he has guilt about that. He's gotten his money kind of easy. He hasn't had to be a businessman who had to make major decisions. And
he didn't look guilty to me.
But they are.
The
rich can be easily the richer.
No, because he's half black, he has no guilt.
Oh, he has half guilt. He's half white.
Right, but the half is not guilty.
Yes, but that half that is.
Look at that's not guilty.
Guilt is a major motivator between the rich and the poor, between men and women, between black and white. Guilt is what they do.
Well, I understand there are some white people who have been made to feel guilty and responsible. Yeah. They feel like they are to blame or their ancestors are to blame, but Colin doesn't have that.
You know, that's
black people don't feel guilty.
That's why you have a lot of rich people.
No.
That's why you have a lot of rich people who are socialist.
We don't feel guilty about anything. What?
Rich people feel guilty about their money. That's why a lot of
But this guy doesn't feel guilty.
Yeah, I think so.
No, he doesn't.
I think so.
No.
Yes.
Take my word on this. He feels that white folks are a problem. He identified with his black.
On the white guilt.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So all this is happening because of the failing fathers. If this man had a good father, his mother and his father were together, and if they loved what was right more than anything else, he would not be doing what he's doing today. He would not encourage hatred like this. He would encourage his fellow man to overcome anger, work hard, treat people the way you would like to be treated, love your enemy, and you can make it in this society. That's what they taught prior to all this mess. They did not teach us to hate anybody. As a matter of fact, if my grandparents had thought that I hated someone, they would beat me. we were not allowed to hate because black Americans had a higher standard of living then. All this stuff wasn't going on. I do counseling by phone and in-house, and I got a call from a 20-year-old man from a foreign country, somewhere he said, but he lives in Philadelphia now. And he found me on YouTube, and he heard me talking about the family, talking about giving up anger, and he's 20 years old. He has a lot of guilt, according to him. He has anxiety, can't sleep at night. And so I counseled with him for about an hour, and at the end of that phone call, he was laughing and feeling free and all that. He said that he's seen a lot of people for his problem, but it's the first time just in a conversation, getting understanding about it, that he felt free. He felt free just in one conversation. What we talked about is forgiveness, that you got to forgive your parents. You got to let it go. You got to forgive your parents. And why did he need to forgive? And he was living at home. He is living at home with his mother. And he asked me, did I think that he should move? And I said, I asked, well, why haven't you moved? Every time he tried to move, according to him, his mother would give him a reason not to move. Oh, wait a little while longer, save a little more money. And every time he tried to move, Mommy needs you now. And so he said, well, what should I do? What should I do? He wanted to move. I said, you should move and move right away, or she's going to kill you. She's not going to let you grow up. And your father's not around. His father died, so his father's not around to, guide him through this. And so he gave his word that he's going to move and fight for his freedom, fight to grow up. And men got to learn that. It's time to grow up. Anybody who live at home with mama after 18 years old is mentally ill and weak and pathetic. You ain't got no better living with mama. That doesn't even make sense to me. You should be growing up from day one knowing that at age 18, you're going to move out. I told this guy, go get a run or one room or something. Live in a hut and work your way up to manhood. Because through tough times, that's how we become men. Learning how to deal with things. And it's time to change, folks. These folks are beating us. These children of the lie are winning. And we're just struggling along through it, going along with it. They have all the money. They control the media. They control everything. I want to...
when I was coming up, it was like everybody was like wanting to get to be 18 and then move out or something like that. But then one time, a few years ago, I met this lady. She's Middle Eastern. And, she, I was telling her about that. Why are your kids still... You say your kids are like 20, your daughter is 29, or your husband, anyway, your kids, one son is 30, and the daughter's like 27. And why are they still living with you? Well, she said, my son, he's almost got his doctor, he's going to be a doctor. He's finishing up his last thing of getting his education. He'll be a doctor. My daughter is already, She's got her degree in this and that, and she's already starting into her profession. So so she was saying. So the thing is that she says nobody should think that your kid is a kid. They don't know how to balance a check. She said when a kid gets like 20, 21, these kids don't know how to do things. They need their parents to show them. To still teach.
But they should know that before
to blend
21.
into life. So I thought about it, and I was like, we're just, I was taught, 18 or so, it's time to throw your kid out if he's not around. I mean, he needs to be on his own, right? But then we look around why many of us don't have any college degrees and things of this nature. And these other countries, they're coming over here and they don't have a problem as long as their kids are productive and they're doing something, getting their degree so that they're going to go on and build they're going to do good things they'll be in a position to do good things for their kids and for our society. Not throw your kids out and they be all angry and they listen to the race hustlers and get taken sidetracked and then they start blaming the white man when
So
they
what
really
are you-
didn't
what are
have
you
the
saying?
foundation to get an education and move on.
So
That's
you
all.
agree
I'm
with...
done.
Come back. Hey,
No, I don't have anything.
no, I want to ask. Come back. Are you saying this woman is right about that?
No, I disagree with the whole, throwing people out or saying that a kid should be, at 18, he should be moving on or had that idea.
And why do you
'Cause I had
disagree with
already.
that?
I did that, and most of my brothers, we had that. And so
Right.
didn't you wonder why a
It
lot of
didn't
people are
work for
angry?
you? It didn't work for you?
No, it don't work for
Wait,
most
come
of
back.
us.
Come back.
Same with, I'm sure with John, same with a lot of other people. That don't work.
So you're saying that at 18, you left home, right?
Yeah.
And were you told that you had to leave at 18?
No.
Take the mic from me.
Oh, no.
You were not. Why did you leave at 18?
Just thought it was a thing to do. It was time to get, I didn't want to go to college.
Right.
I knew I graduated. I wanted to get out. I wanted to survive high school, and I certainly wasn't ready to go. I hated school, so I went into the service. I joined the service. I went in 2 weeks after I graduated. Went right into the service. That was it. But I didn't want to stay on. I didn't want to stay home. I didn't
So
want
are
to be
you
under
saying
rule.
that it was a you should have stayed home at 18?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's the wrong thing to wrong expectation to set for your
To have your
kids.
kid leave home at 18?
Yeah, I think it's
Your
a
boys,
fallacy. I think it's
especially
part of
boys.
it. It adds to the anger and it adds to everything else. It makes them susceptible to failure, more susceptible to failure than necessary.
Wow.
I don't say that you should just keep your kid
So
at home and he's
did
doing
you-
nothing. But as
when
long
you-
as he's going to is he going to college and he's trying to get his education and he's got a little job perhaps, then we shouldn't it's not like, hurry up and get on out. No, because if this person is thinking,
That's so
I
sad,
want to
man.
become a lawyer. I want to become a doctor. You should give them an opportunity, a foundation to do that. I think that's what a parent should do. It would help the parents. It's an indication that the parents have a deeper understanding of what it takes to be successful in society. You need to help your children to do that. That's all I'm saying.
What do you think about that?
I was wrong. I raised
Do you
my
agree
kids
with
like
that?
I raised my kids just like I was raised. Okay, see you, dude. You my way. You're 18 now. I tell you what. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. You don't follow my rules. Hit the door. That's it. There's no
Do you
discussion.
regret that
I'm
now?
not going to discuss it with you. Huh?
Do you regret that now?
It was lack of patience. I had a lot of fear and anger, and I still do in a lot of ways. So that's what you do when you have fear and anger. You put your kids out in the street. Or you do stuff like that.
So
you don't
you
use your common sense.
Do you regret that now?
There's no point in me regretting. I'm just saying it's not
It
the
was a
thing to
mistake.
encourage. I would encourage that. That
Okay.
doesn't make sense to me.
I did leave around 18, 19, by the way, just for the record. I think you can't have a blanket statement. You can't say everybody must leave. I do agree with what he's saying, that there are some individuals that have a unique situation. Good example is, he may not be ready to leave. He may not have a job or whatever, but he may be in a situation where, like he said, there has to be situations in where, it's a good idea to keep him there a little bit longer for his benefit. So I wouldn't say that you put that in stone with every single kid, but a majority, yes, I would say yes.
What do you
Majority.
think about that, Sheila?
I know that he's not saying this as a blanket statement. As long as the child is progressive or you know what direction they're going in, I don't see a problem with having them at home. Many of my friends have college students, and they're at home until they finish their education. So it depends on the situation, but if I follow him correctly, I don't think he's making a blanket statement. But then again, I don't know that you're making a blanket statement either.
All right. Kelly, what do you think about that?
I think for the most part, yes.
And why?
Because he needs to start learning the most. Well, I think I heard someone mention success. Like, you want to set your kids up for success. And I think you want to look at that in a spiritual sense. And the biggest way you can be successful is to learn resilience and independence and depending on God. And I think that you can only really start to learn that for the most part when you leave your parents.
Yeah. And to add to that, and what I'm hearing you saying, I think you made a horrible mistake. The children of the lie believe that everybody and their mama need to go to college. They need to get an education. They need to go to college. That's a horrible mistake, because they're going to college and they're coming out destroyed, spiritually, mentally, emotionally destroyed. They have no values. They have no relationship with God, but they have this college education. Now they're screwing up the country and screwing up young kids. When I was growing up, we were taught to work From day one, we were being prepared to leave home at 18 because we were taught to work. And the principle is, as long as you know how to work and you don't mind working, you're going to have a roof over your head, food in your mouth, in your belly, and a roof, and what else, right? Because you know how to work, not because you're educated or uneducated. And then a man or a woman who knows how to work, and he leaves home at 18, if he want to go to a trade school or college, he's going to do it on his own. He doesn't need mama or daddy to do it, because a working man knows that he grows into everything, and he's maturing while he's making his way. He's not, this idea that we all need to be going to college is a foolish idea. We need to get a trade. We need to know how to work with our hands. If you know how to work with your hands and you're not a lazy person, you don't worry about all this other mess. You're ready to deal with life. And your parents teach you that from day one, so it's your thinking. We were taught, my grandmother told me all the time, not all the time, but boy, you leave it here at 18. I'm going to make, get you ready, you're going to learn how to work, and you're leaving at 18. I'm like, where am I going? I don't know, and I don't care. You'll leave it here. And then we were taught that at 25, you should have your own home. And at that time, if you want to get married, 25 was a good age. Get your own home, get married, start your family. Because by that time, you worked and have some money. And so at 18, my birthday was that May. I graduated from high school the same day of my birthday. And that summer I left home. And it wasn't no problem. I didn't feel unloved. I didn't feel like all that crap that weak people are feeling today. I made some mistakes along the way. I lived in, I remember once I had to live at a hotel that had so many roaches, I probably would eat them for lunch, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I didn't want to have to go back home, and I didn't want to call home for money and all that crap. So I hustled through it. And it just made me a better person because I was prepared for day one. And if I wanted to go to college, I would have paid my own way through school. And that's what is missing today. Boys should not be staying home at 18 because they want to go to school. I wish my son would tell me I want to live here because I'm going to school. It would not work. Because they'll just get lazy. They'll be dependent on you. There's a difference in being out there on your own than living at home with mama and daddy. You have a different mentality because you're trained up that way from day one. And if you don't go to college, you're not a failure as long as you know how to work and save your money, invest your money, and all that kind of stuff. Everybody can't go to college. And if you can't afford it, don't go anyway. And you should never feel sorry for your son. Or even, you know what? You get out there, you make your own mistakes, you grow from them. Don't feel sorry for them. They never will become a man that way. It's so pathetic. Oh, God don't feel sorry for us. You notice how God will let us end up on Skid Row. He'll let you end up homeless. He'll try to warn you along the way. You know how the son called home, Daddy, I made a big mistake. I understand, son, I tried to tell you. Okay, let me know how it turned out. He'll let you suffer until you're ready to take hold of your own life. And that's what makes a man into a man.
As we talk about this, about our male children, how do you feel about our female children?
Same thing.
Okay, I understand.
They need to be taught with the same principles of work, independence, love your neighbor as yourself, carry yourself in a respectful way. They need to be taught the same principles because the principles apply to men and women.
Right, I agree with that. I just wanted to know.
Yeah. It's the same principle for the girls as well.
One of the things I think we have to realize is that you can't really compare how the American household is to households outside the United States. You use the example of a Middle Eastern woman. I've worked around lots of international people all the time. It is their culture, not just Middle Eastern, but Asian and so forth, to keep the kids in the house. But anything is better than wherever they're from, because that's the reason why they're here. And as soon as they get here, they hammer into those kids, you got to do better, you got to do better, you got to do better, you got to do this, and we're going to make everything out terrific for you. Here in the United States with us, I think we coddle our kids a little too much.
Yeah.
I think we give them just a little too much. We don't let them suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting 1980s, the 1880s, 1800s suffering, but, live without a little bit just to see how it is.
The average man today is mentally and emotionally destroyed. They ain't worth a dime. And it's because they have not been raised with that tough love. They don't know how to get into a mess and overcome the mess. We're supposed to get in a mess and then overcome it, And we used to know how to do this, but they don't know how to do this anymore. And it's unfortunate that they don't know, because the country is losing because the men are weak. I was, last night I watched this movie, or yesterday, or someday, and somebody asked, what do you think death feel like? What it feel like to die, physically die? You ever wonder about that? Yeah. What does that feel like to die? And since I've never died, I can't tell you what it actually feels like. But this woman said, I imagine death is like letting go and becoming totally and absolute free, with no resistance, just free. And that just hit home. Wow, I bet you that's what death is like. Because when you leave your body, you're not subject to your mind. You're not subject to your emotions anymore. You're not subject to the body. You're just a free person. And you're not, there's nothing to resist or anything. You're just free. And I imagine that's what death is like. And that's why God said that we have once to live and once to die. Because in reality, every day, every situation, we should be dying. And remembering the Father again, because we used to know him and we just forgot that he loves us, that he's prepared for us, and that he's with us, right? And because people are not dying today, they are not seeing that. They're not dying from the passions. They are not dying from their emotions. They are pushed. The world is encouraging that. Get deep into your imagination. Feel your emotions. I interviewed a woman on the Fall Estate, and it's going to be coming up soon. I had no idea what that lady was talking about. She was so into the spirit and the emotions. You got to get into it. And she's like on YouTube making money and pushing this. And you're supposed to die from your passions, not get into your passions. You're supposed to overcome your emotions and your imagination and not get into your imagination and your emotions. You're never going to grow up like that. You're going to always be weak and defeated. You have to die in order to live. And if you're not going through situations and overcoming them in the right way, you're not living, you're dying. And you do get to a point where it just seems impossible. Because you're dying, you're overreacting to everything. When I had to put my son out, I felt nothing about it. And now he's so grateful. You got to go. I can't do any more for you. Bye. And he thanked me for it. Now he's becoming a man. He got over that. He made it through it. And he's grateful for it. I didn't mama him. Nobody mama me. And you can make it that way. You got to die, though. You got to die from your imagination. You got to die from your passions. And you got to persist in doing what's right. Because our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong. It's not against one another. It's not against the physical. It's the spirit that made a home in the person, that in us and in the other person that we're dealing with. It's not physical at all. And you're not going to know that unless you stop resisting and overcome. And especially with men, because when men are weak, families fall apart, neighborhoods fall apart, the country fall apart. It's just the way it is. Look around you. And then listen to men. You can't even have a normal conversation with the average man now. You're talking about one thing, and their mind is out in zero land, talking about something else. I've never seen men be so crazy and weak. All they want is sex. You give them some sex, they fine. Oh, I'm all man now. And the woman thinking, you ain't nothing, I just control you.
'Tis a sad but true story. From the Bible it came. And it tells us how Judas sold the Savior in shame. He planned with the council of high priests that day.
And he wore some socks with the face of pigs and police cap. And the pigs had police caps. And that's what Black Lives want. Pigs in the blanket, fry them like bacon. When do we want dead cops? When do we want it now? Kind of thing. So this guy should not be allowed to play football. It's unfortunate that the owners of the team are too cowardly to stand up and denounce him and get rid of him. I believe that his contract will not be renewed. Hopefully it won't be renewed. But anyway, so this reporter showed that, and then he showed the pictures of 3 black guys who were killed by a police officer. So the guy pointed out Garner as one of the guys. He said, this is where the outrage should be. Garner was killed by police officers for selling cigarettes, illegal cigarettes, on the corner. That's the first lie, because he wasn't killed for selling illegal cigarettes on a corner. He was killed, he died because he resisted arrest. He started fighting with the cop when they tried to put the handcuffs on him, and he already had some type of medical problem, so he went down, he died. He was not killed for selling illegal cigarettes. But that's the lie that the reporter told, and if you're not paying attention, you're just here, oh, this poor black guy was killed by the police officer for selling illegal cigarettes. But that wasn't the reason. So he lied about that. Then he had this little young kid out of Ohio, Tamir Rice. He's like, this is Tamir Rice. You should be outraged about this. Now I never think about my color. It's so irrelevant that it's amazing. But the problem is people who are into the color thing, they are being so deceived. The liberals, the godless people in the media, they just want to deceive black people. It's like they're deliberately keeping them angry by just changing everything, so presenting a lie in order to keep you angry and keep us fighting amongst each other. It's just so amazing. It's like they have, even the black ones, not just the white liberal in the media, but the black ones as well, they don't really care about black people. They want to keep them dumbed down, angry, and brainwashed, and demoralized for personal gain. And I noticed that the children of the lie, they have a lot of money, they own the media, they have this way of just always getting the lie out there. Whereas the children of the truth, they don't have as many avenues. It's like they don't seem to have money or avenues to always get the truth out there about things. So the lie is always floating about and just out there all the time. And if you hear the lie and you are a blind person, you're going to fall for it. You're just going to fall for it. It's hard enough keeping up with it when you can see what's going on. You have to pay attention, because when this guy said that, the average person's not going to think he wasn't killed because he was selling cigarettes. He was killed because he resisted arrest. And didn't he have like a heart attack or something? The fat black one? Asthma. So overweight, asthma, and he knew his condition. But yeah, he refused. They had to take him down and he died. folks. So there's nothing good about it. And so I looked at the video that my son sent along with the message that sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And so I looked at it, and the reporter was talking about this story with Colin. And the reporter also talked about how the national anthem came about. And he indicated that it was about slavery and against black people. That kind of stuff is against black people, and that's part of the reason Colin is not, standing up for the national anthem. And so he said, this reporter said, how is it that so many people are outraged at Colin, but not outraged at this? And he showed three pictures of three black guys. And the outrage is that at the games now, wherever this guy is playing, the people are booing him, Colin. They're booing him, and I think they should. I also think that he should be fired. When you go to a football game, you're going there to relax, get away from the week. You don't want politics. You don't want to hear about nobody's problems. You're taking your kids and you're having popcorn and hot dogs and peanut butter, and you just want to kick back and have fun. You don't want some angry person protesting at the game. Save it. You can go out and protest after the game. But this guy has decided to do it at the game. And he's getting paid. One day he went to practice. He was killed by cops because he had a BB gun. But he wasn't killed by cops because he had a BB gun. He was killed by cops because he was in the park waving his gun around. Somebody called the police and said, there's a person in the park with a gun. And when the cops got there, he went into according to the report, he went into his pants to bring the gun out. And because he had taken up, there's a little orange tip that goes on BB guns to let the cops know it's a BB gun. But he had taken that off, and they didn't know it was a thing. So the boy pulling out the gun, that's why he was killed. He was not killed because he had a BB gun. But that's another lie that the reporter said. Deceiving you. Totally deceiving you. If you're not paying attention, you would say, oh my God, they killed this little innocent baby because he had a gun. And then they showed this black man out of Minnesota that was killed in his car. And he had told the officers that he had a license to carry the gun. But his girlfriend or somebody in the car with him, and the boy ended up dead. And he's like, this is another one. He had a permit to carry a gun, and they killed him. And I don't know what the real story on that one. So my son watching this, he's not paying attention to the lie that's being told, and he's overreacting to that. That's why my son said, I wish you were on both sides, meaning that on the side of the blacks and on the side of the whites, across the fence. But I'm on the side of truth. I can care less about the color. I really don't care. And I used to be into the color thing. Whenever I got involved with white folks, I thought it was a black and white thing. And this morning I got a text from my son, and he said, sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And sometimes I wish you were on both sides. And he sent a video along with the message, because I'm wondering both sides of what. And so I looked at the video, and the video was a report about this guy, Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick is a football player with the San Francisco 49ers. And this guy refused to stand during the national anthem. And he said he's not going to stand until, or he won't stand because America is not fair to everybody. In short, he's a Black Lives Matter supporter. And we all know that Black Lives Matter, it is an evil organization with the intent to destroy America and turn it into a socialist society. It's not about black people at all. It is set up to divide and conquer. And it's created by a bunch of homosexuals and lesbians and white liberal socialists, communist kind of